Welcome into the PHNX Suns VIP Lounge, brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook app, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. I'm Lindsay, that's Saul, that's Espo.
Is that the Lindsey Smith?
We'll be joined by Gerald a little bit later on in the program. And thank you, Espo.
You're welcome.
Gas me up, Espo. I can use it right now a lot. The Phoenix Suns defeat the New Orleans Pelicans 131-115. The revenge game was had. The Suns, they have to get even. They can't let one get past them.
They have now they've beaten every team in the NBA. They accomplished that the other night. They got revenge on New Orleans for one of their 14 losses that was handed to them by the Pelicans. I don't think anybody can stop this team right now. I just don't think so.
Definitely not in a 7-game series, that's for sure, I would say.
I mean,
I'd be willing to put money on that.
I would too. There's not a team in the NBA that I would put money on to beat the Suns. Not one.
We'll get into that later.
Oh,
We'll
okay.
talk about that
I thought we just got into it.
Okay. I guess Espo's got something up his sleeve for us later on in the program. How are you guys feeling about how this one kind of unfolded? It was a game of runs early on, but the Suns were able to pull away pretty early at the end of this one and really make some separation and allow that second unit to come in and close things out and actually, I believe, extend the lead still.
Yeah, really what it came down to was in that first quarter, New Orleans took an early lead there, but the Suns went on, I believe it was a 12-0 run, took the lead back, and they really didn't look back after that. New Orleans would cut it down to 6 or 8, but Phoenix really just put the foot on the gas, and it was behind Devin Booker playing fantastic in that first half, almost unstoppable from downtown. He was 3 of 3 in that half. Overall, just looked fantastic, and DA had it going too offensively. So the offense carried them. The defense, the rebounding was a little suspect in that first half, but the offense was just that good that New Orleans couldn't compete with it.
Anything else to add, Saul?
I will fully admit I missed the entire first half because I was busy doing a million other things in the building, so I'm not going to comment on the first half. But I did know that Devin Booker started off very, very hot, and then third quarter, not so much. But then he found it again, so it was okay.
Look, DeAndre Ayton in that first quarter, in that first half, also had a play that dropped my jaw. All right, it was he dribbled. We haven't seen him do it. The handle was there. He took a guy off the dribble from the top of the key, got in there, put it home. It was pretty. If that's something else that he's adding to the repertoire, look out, because things are going to get crazy. Because now he can step out, hit that 3. Then he can also take you off the dribble. This could be a whole new level of DeAndre Ayton that we see.
Is it repertoire or is it repertoire?
Either way.
Tomato? I don't know. I have no idea, to be honest with you.
Curious.
However, I damn want to say it, Saul. All right.
I didn't get aggressive about, but okay.
But I am here for that from DeAndre, and everyone on Twitter was super stoked when he pulled that out of the bag. If he can continue to do that and build that up even more and master that skill, it's going to be game over for a lot of people with DeAndre.
I mean, I just feel there's a lot of ifs with DeAndre, and we'll just leave it at that. He needs to continue to get those opportunities to be able to flex that skill set. And I think, right now is the perfect time to do it.
Yeah.
You got 2 of your key players missing. You're going to get deferred to more often than not. So, pull out those tricks out of your bag and see what we can do. Why not? It's just the Pelicans.
Espo, take us to the bar. Let's start things off with some drinks. Here.
Let's go to the bar. Tonight it's the Big Easy Brew, because it was a big, easy win for the Phoenix Suns tonight. So wash it down with a nice brew there.
The Phoenix Suns are also now 42-0 this season when entering the fourth quarter with the lead, 21-0 when doing it on the road. So it's pretty substantial numbers there. And this is win number 55 for the Suns. What do you guys think? How are we feeling? Did you guys make any predictions at the beginning of the year?
I think I said 60 at the beginning of the year.
60?
I think I had said 54 54, 55.
Who did we tell that to?
Zona Hoops.
Yeah.
Was it Zona Hoops?
Brandon,
It may have been 54. I think they blew past it or tied it last night. Yeah, it wasn't it wasn't great, my prediction.
I might have said like 58 or 63. Both of those numbers sound like a number I would have said, but I don't recall.
I did say 60.
What did I say?
I only have.
You just went to your DMs?
My DMs.
Okay.
This team is 8 wins away from setting the franchise record for wins, and we're in the middle of March. There's a whole month left, almost a month left in this season, and that's all they need to set the record.
I don't know, but I'm really bad at this. I picked 55, so I'm out tonight. 55 was my prediction this year. I know. How
There's 13 games left.
13 games left.
Yes.
I mean, 8-5. That's.
Yeah. I mean,
so how many did you pick? 60 what?
60.
60. Okay. And you were like 54?
53 or 54.
53?
Damn.
Gosh, I feel like I let my squad down.
You guys did.
By
I still got 5 games to play with.
I thought they would only win 55 games.
I have no faith. I picked like the highest win total they've had in a decade.
I know, right?
No faith in this team. Look, nobody.
How many wins did they have last year?
Nobody expected them to win at this clip.
I know, but they had 72 games last year, and how many did they win?
They're winning at an 80% clip.
I know,
though.
but how many games did they win last year?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
How many games did they win last year, Gerald?
51.
Thank you.
So you only had 2 more wins than last year.
4 more wins in the final 10 games is if they played another 10 games. Yeah, I was a little conservative on it. Okay, so
all right. I mean, I get that. I get your conservativeness, but I'm just saying, like, that was basically saying that they were going to be equal to or lesser than last year. So I'm like, I don't quite understand that. Because actually, you're kind of a pessimist anyway. So never mind. I guess I should have.
I was optimistic. I said 55.
I mean,
55 isn't a lot.
You could make the argument that some of is this a Cinderella or is this like a one-off kind of thing? Maybe rubbed off a little bit. Like, I don't know. Is it?
The Vegas line was 51.5.
Yeah, but Vegas is dumb. Vegas has been so dumb about the Suns all year long. And we know this.
I still went 3.5 games over what they had said. Like, look, I'll take it. I'm happy to be wrong. I'm glad they may eclipse my prediction by 10 games. I have no problem with being wrong in that case. I'd much rather be wrong this way than have picked them to win 63 and have them win 53. All right.
All I'm going to say to put a bow on this is, if there ever was a bet to lose or a place to be wrong, this would be the place where you would want to be wrong. Right. Yeah, this is a win-win for all of us. So shout out to the Suns, win number 55. Gerald Bourguet joins us now after talking with head coach Monty Williams. Gerald, welcome. Give us some updates on what you heard from Monty.
Yeah, so Monty made an interesting note. He noted that the Suns are the number 1 team in the NBA in first shot defense. So as good as they were defensively, giving up those 13 offensive rebounds and I think 29 second chance points was the reason why it was close until they started getting stops and closing out stops with defensive rebounds. He said that was when the game kind of changed for them. He really liked JaVale McGee's impact. He said he sat down with McGee. I think it was earlier today. They were just kind of talking and they had a good conversation about how impactful he's able to be in his limited minutes. And that kind of carried over into the game tonight when he had 19 points and 6 rebounds. And the other thing I asked him about, obviously he was very happy with the fact that he was able to keep his guys, his starters, in low minutes with the back-to-back tomorrow. But I asked him about Torrey Craig and just what it does for this team when he's able to hit threes. And he said that they had a conversation with him about attacking a little bit more because they felt like he was settling from 3, which is something we've talked about too, because he wasn't shooting the ball great when he first got here again. Mm-hmm. So he's been in more of attack mode, and that kind of ironically has opened up the 3-point shot for him. And he also noted what a luxury it is to have a guy like Torrey Craig defensively that can guard CJ McCollum, so it's not McHale doing that all the time. He said he's a much more physical brand of defender, and that really helps because as good as McHale is, sometimes you need that physicality like a Jay Crowder, and to have an extra guy like Torrey in there that you can throw in the mix is a good thing for them.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like Torrey Craig's defense tonight was pretty awesome to see. And I loved also that his shot has continued to fall a little bit more over the last couple of games. Kind of feels like he's found, or at least coming closer to finding his rhythm here with this team. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's another weapon that they have that they can count on if his shot's falling like it did last tail end of the season into the postseason for the Suns. It really just adds another level to that second unit.
Do you guys want to name our draft king of the game?
Let's do it.
Let's go ahead and give the honor. We are going to name our draft king of the game tonight. None other than Devin Booker, who finished with 27 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds. He was an 11 of 20 from the field. Shout out to Shane Diefenbach, who won his gamble on Devin tonight. He had to knock down 27 points, and he did exactly that. So shout out to Shane on the DraftKings Sportsbook app, taking home some money and a W there.
The man cheering the loudest for Devin Booker's last second shot there in the third to hit him exactly at 27
Also,
points.
I don't know what we missed, but somehow Jackson Hayes hit his too. I don't know what happened in the last 3 minutes.
There you go.
Wow.
Very nice.
The degenerate behind the Mac got both of his bets. Congratulations.
So, of course, Devin was just doing Devin things tonight. This was a book night that was great to watch, great to see. He was hitting some outrageous shots throughout this game.
Yeah. Quality crown placement, by the way. So we know Shane didn't do it. So shout out to the intern behind the Mac. Nobody else is going to get. I'm the only one here.
I thought you were going to say his name.
No.
You just kind of stopped. So
I only say
okay.
the intern. I never.
We can't say
the
which
names.
one.
Oh.
Well, Espo can't anyway.
Why?
Because I don't know the interns' names.
That's his
no.
stick.
You guys are going to rue the day I ever have to leave.
Who are you?
Safe workplace environment.
I don't know your name. Get away from me, intern. That's how Espo's going to run this place.
On the show, off the show, I know their names. Jeez.
Okay.
Anybody else have thoughts on Devin's game?
Yes, Devin was spectacular. Came out with that killer instinct in the first and second quarter. Was hitting those shots that when he's in that Armani mode, when he's locked in. It's falling off a guy. Making a head. Getting the guy off his feet, getting the foul, getting the N1. It was just pretty in that first half from Devin Booker.
I'm running out of things to say about Devin Booker. It feels like every other night he's our draft king of the game. And so we know what he is. He's awesome. Like, that's about all you can say.
But when you have a podcast that you do 5 days a week, you have to come up with more to say, and or it's okay to repeat yourself, Saul, because we're not going to make it an hour if you only talk for 20 seconds on each topic.
That's fantastic, actually.
It's
Can we
like-
maybe cut this thing to a half hour? I think everybody would be happy right now. Huh?
It's a unique situation to be in because, on the flip side, a couple years ago, it was like, we're grasping at straws of things to talk about that are highlights or some sort of that, you know what I mean, within that realm. And now we're at a point where it's like, we're so accustomed to winning that we don't even want to give flowers when flowers are due. Or what more can we say because they're just winning so much?
Booker has
Lindsey her flower giving.
Booker has all the flowers. Number one, number two. Like if this was 2018, I would argue it would be even funner because we would be shitting all over all these players every single night.
I can tell you, it was not fun to be doing a post-game show in the bad days. It was not fun.
It was a unique experience, but it was not nearly as fun. That is for sure.
Unique is one way to put it. Total shit show is another way.
Here's my analysis of Devin Booker tonight. He was really good. And he was. He's Devin Booker.
He's not
like
wrong.
he's probably like one of
the first quarter or third quarter.
Yeah, but like again, we're like grasping at straws about some of this stuff. Like I'm to the point right now that like Devin Booker should never be king of the game because we already know he's the best player every single night. So let's pick somebody else. Like that's almost where I'm at right now because he's just so damn good. You do take it for granted for a little bit, like, or I do take it for granted a little bit. Like he's just he makes this look so easy, and we obviously we appreciate what he brings to the table every single night. But like, there's a part of me that's like, Okay, but like, let's give JaVale some flowers or give him king of the game because he made that ridiculous freaking tip. But we'll get into that later.
Okay.
We
how
gave
about this?
Bismack the king of the game.
He had
with
4 points.
4 points.
Yeah, but he did an amazing thing off the court.
He did.
He's doing an amazing thing off the court.
He is.
Which, if you haven't read Gerald's article on that yet, be sure to do so at gophnx.com because they got a lot more insight into that. And just shout out again to Bismack Biyombo for all of the amazing things he's doing right now.
I'll tell you what, I've been in a lot of media scrums. I've had a lot of interviews with different players, coaches, people throughout this league. The 20 minutes that Biyombo took with us to talk about what he's doing, his father's influence, and all of that is, I've never been in a media scrum like that. You know, Kellen and I were like looking at each other, like trying not to tear up while we're asking this dude questions, like, and then going back and transcribing it later. I was tearing up again. Like, this dude is just a remarkable human being.
I'm not laughing at that.
No,
I'm laughing at like the visual of you just.
Yeah, I'm like adjusting my AirPods, sniffing.
I was really hoping Gerald was just going to be like, I've been in a lot of media scrums with a lot of people around this league, and that was it. It was just a humble brag.
That was it.
I didn't think he was going to go
I
anywhere.
just wanted to talk about myself.
I just wanted to show off. Look, with Book, though, we're not talking the 8 assists, the 5 rebounds, too. It wasn't just his shooting. He's filled in and picked up the slack with CP3 out in terms of distributing the ball. And we all have our thoughts on Point Book, but when he doesn't have to be the main guy and he can share that load, which he has with Campaign, it's been nice.
Yeah.
We got a super chat.
Oh, do we?
Let's go. Taboo's Tidbits, $5 super chat. Which Book got a better whistle? His free throw attempts have gone down the last 3 years. Refs don't seem to give him his share of calls for a superstar. I will say this. Like, Devin Booker's a superstar, and he's on the fringe. I would say he's a star, like right on the border of superstardom. Like he's like right there, right? He's still not going to get the calls that like Curry, KD, LeBron get, but he's really close. The thing that's going to start to push things his way is he's got to pick and choose when he wants to bitch about calls and when he doesn't. There's some obvious things, like there's some obvious things that happen in a game where like maybe his shot gets blocked clean or he legit fouls and he still complains. And you start, as a referee, you just start to mute him. You just start to mute him and you just call it however you see it. And there's a little, listen, referees are human. They're going to be like, sometimes I just don't like this guy. And maybe something that's small and you could have given him the call, they decide not to because, well, you're kind of being a dick tonight. Like, so Devin's got to learn that part of the game, and he's got to manage his emotions. Even EJ pointed it out in the game that he was a little ornery out there tonight. So
it's not just Devin though. I feel like this team complains a lot, and tonight they only went to the free throw line 15 times.
That's becoming a theme.
Once. And the Pelicans went 24 times.
That's becoming a theme. The other night against the Lakers, they only had 3 free throw attempts in the first half. The Lakers had 28.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me with the LA and the LeBron stuff.
I mean, but it's been themes throughout the season though. Like this isn't the only 2 games. Like it's happened, especially in the second half of the season, a lot more than I think we all would like to admit, and that is something that maybe could be a cause for concern as we move forward into the playoffs.
That is something I asked Monty about at practice the other day about that free throw disparity. And he said, look, like it's one of those things where I can suggest to officials that they keep an eye on this thing, when we feel like we're getting fouled or when we feel like we're not committing fouls. But at the end of the day, we just have to have the mental fortitude and stamina to push through bad calls because we have been giving up free points with technical fouls or just not getting back on defense because we were complaining to official the way back down the court.
The other aspect of this is, especially when you look at a game like the Lakers, right? The Lakers play no fucking defense. So, of course, they're not going to foul. You're getting wide open shots left and right. Of course, they're not going to foul. Whereas the Suns were playing a lot of defense, and that's how you're going to pick up some fouls because sometimes, you reach and you get caught or whatever. So, there is that alternative look at it as well.
Yeah. So, Tizdu in the chat asked, when you were talking about Devin kind of getting to that superstardom kind of level, does a ring get him there this year?
I think I think if he has another run this year, I don't care if he wins a ring. I think if he just has another run like he did last year in the playoffs, he'll be there. He'll be there. Like you can't sit there. Klay Thompson, as far as two guards, because Steph is kind of in his own stratosphere, right? Even though Steph is starting to come back down to the mean, right? But Klay was kind of the comparison because they're both kind of two guards that shoot at an elite level. And for a long time, you could say Klay's a better shooter than Devin or a better playmaker because he played defense too. And now you're starting to see it flip. And obviously with Klay being injured, I think that gap is all but gone. And Devin will overtake Klay because I just think Devin's going to perform better than him in the playoffs. I can't really think, I think Devin Booker's far better than Donovan Mitchell. And the reason why I feel that way is because Donovan Mitchell will give you flashes of 40, 45, 50. He can do that on back-to-back games, right? But he will not get other players involved as much as Devin Booker. Devin Booker, the reason why he's going to be a superstar is because he is evolving it seems like every other week he's adding something to his bag. He's doing something a little bit different. And that's what makes great players superstars, because Devin Booker is now finding his teammates and trusting them a lot more. He's doing it on the defensive end. Tonight, I was sitting next to Gerald, and he made a great defensive play just coming over from the weak side to intercept the ball, something you probably would have never seen him do 3-4 years ago. And now he's the leader of that team on defense. And it's just, that's what makes superstars, continuing to add to their bag and, excel at a high level.
Yeah. All right. Where's my camera here? I think it's this one. Devin Booker is the best shooting guard in the NBA. Suck it, Klay Thompson. All right. That's how good Devin has been over the last 2 years. He's become the premier shooting guard in the NBA. He hasn't reached superstar status yet, but I think he will, like Saul said, with a playoff run, another playoff run like he did last year. He is the best shooting guard in this game to me.
The playmaking really stands out because early in this game, it was a lot of he was hitting tough shots tonight. But the playmaking, 8 assists tied with campaign for the team league, and the way that this offense has still been able to continue without Chris Paul, who we all agree is kind of the straw that stirs the drink for this team. Since the All-Star break, the Suns have 320 assists, which is the most in the NBA, to 137 turnovers. And they've done that without Chris Paul in any of those games. It's amazing the way this offense has continued to churn without without the point guard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he had that play in the first half. He got up in the air. He had, I want to say it was Shamet under the hoop, and he saw DA cutting down the lane and made this beautiful pass that I don't think most people even saw DA coming down the lane.
Sorry.
What was
I just
that?
thought he looked at Sham and was like,
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go elsewhere. No, but I mean,
shit, somebody else.
Not the Shamet slander.
Sorry, Gerald. I know. I only did it for you. But I will say, going back to this too, through the history of the NBA, teams have had to overcome nemesises, right? Nemesis, whatever. Nemesis, whatever.
Nemesis, yes.
And for the longest time, the Suns couldn't get past the Lakers, and then they got past the Lakers. Then they couldn't get past the Spurs, and they never really did get past the Spurs. And though the Warriors have not really been in their way playoff wise this year, I do feel like the Warriors, when healthy, right, were always kind of the standard bearer in the West. And I think this is the year where that torch permanently gets passed on to a team like the Suns, who have younger players, better players all the way around. You can't look at DA, Booker, Cam, and Mikal and say that that's not a better core than what the Warriors have. It's my opinion, but that's what I feel. And as Steph and Klay, are on the backside of their careers, hopefully they don't play for too much longer, but they probably will, like Tom fucking Brady out there. The Suns and the Warriors, I feel like, are going to be the two teams that battle it out the most in the West. And I think the Suns are going to have that advantage and kind of overcome that little bit of a mountain, because I feel like that's the only doubt left outside of the stupid injuries that people like to throw in the Suns' faces, which are ridiculous. But the Suns have basically overcome all of that. All those narratives have basically been blown out of the water, because right now the Suns are still dominating teams and they have two of their best players not playing. So it doesn't fucking matter. The Suns are proving to you, okay, we lose this guy and we lose this guy, we can still beat you. Like all these other teams have excuses. The Suns aren't trying to hear that noise. They're just playing good, solid basketball and beating you at your own game, despite the fact that they have two key players that are not playing. And when they get to the playoffs, it's just going to bode better for them in the long run.
I'm not even sure they're going to get a chance to face Golden State because it's going to have to be the Western Conference Finals, right? I think we all at this point look at it that way.
I want Golden State.
I don't know that Golden State's going to get there the way they've been playing.
They will.
There's going to be some tough challenges in the West in the playoffs this year, and I think you're right. That's the one team, and you may not even have to overcome that. Really, facing the Bucks again would be the one big test that I think would be the one that you'd have to overcome that hurdle because you didn't beat the Bucks last year, and if you go head to head against them again, that's going to be in the back of your mind. You went up 2-0, you lost 4 in a row. How do you overcome that? To me, that's the arch enemy that you may have to face as that final boss here.
And as you said, I'm not so sure the Bucks are going to get back there.
Yeah. It's honestly there are 3 teams that give me pause as far as they could potentially lose that series. I would pick them in all 3. But it's Bucks, like you're saying, just because of that rematch, because of the size advantage, and because they have a Giannis. It's the Nets, because if they have KD and Kyrie firing on all cylinders, I don't care what seed they wind up with when they're going into the playoffs. That's a dangerous team that can win 4 out of 7 against anybody.
That's if Kyrie can even play.
They
play the Raptors, they're done.
I would. Oh my God!
Yeah,
I am praying
series.
for that scenario, not because I'm scared of the Nets, but because I would. Poetic justice, thank you. And the other one is the Warriors, because if Draymond is back and healthy, that changes the dynamic for them. And it changes things for Steph. Steve Kerr was saying the other night how much having Draymond out there makes Steph's life so much easier. I'm not even that worried about Clay because he's been kind of up or down, but that is still a guy that can change the course of one playoff game. And sometimes that's all you need. The Grizzlies are a dangerous, young, fun team. I would have Suns in 5 or 6 in that series, though.
Yeah, I think the Grizzlies are that they're gonna take their lumps in that first year kind of team.
But you could have said that about the Suns last year, though.
But the Suns had Chris Paul. Like there's different elements there.
A little bit additional veteran presence.
Like, I feel like that's the difference.
And also, you got to remember that the Grizzlies played very well, in the play-in just to get into the playoffs last year. So they do have experience in the playoffs. Ja has experience in the playoffs.
Is it weird, though, that I don't want the Grizzlies in the playoffs at all? Because if you advance over the Grizzlies, I feel like that's a storyline that could be created well.
It was
the Grizzlies haven't quite reached their full potential.
No matter who the Suns
exactly.
Well, but I feel like there's bigger wells with the Grizzlies than there are like the Warriors.
If we beat the Warriors, 1,000,000%, this is what's going to happen. We beat the Warriors, even if we swept the Warriors. Well, it's going to be interesting to see how they do when Weissman's fully healthy for a whole season and Clay's fully healthy for a whole season. Like the excuses are already built in for all these teams. Hell, they're making excuses for the Lakers already. Like, get the hell out of here.
If only the Warriors still had Kevin Durant, we would have beaten the Suns. It'll be stupid crap like that for sure.
I got DA on.
All right.
There you go, Lindsay. I stretched it out there for 20 minutes. All for you. There you go.
We'll let Gerald go talk to DA.
Yeah, Gerald's going to go talk to some more players. And in the meantime, I will tell you guys about the latest offer from the DraftKings Sportsbook app. So the teams have been selected for the biggest tournament of the year. There's only a few days left to join in on all the action before the first team tips off this Thursday. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving new customers a shot to bet just $5 on any team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. Yep, it's that simple. If they win, you win. DraftKings Sportsbook customers can also bet on college hoops with same-game parlays. So combine multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. And of course, the more legs you add, the more money you can win. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use promo code PHNX. Bet $5 on any college hoops team to win and get $200 in free bets if they do. When they win, you win with the promo code PHNX this week at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Just a reminder, that is 21 and older only. Arizona only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. New customers only. Minimum $5 minimum deposit. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Also, if you are already a DraftKings Sportsbook member, user, Queen Leah sent us a note today that there is an odds boost right now in the app where, do you guys remember? Is it Gonzaga that you can get at plus 100 instead of minus 8,000?
Yep.
So take advantage of that if you are interested in betting on some college hoops this week.
Unless you don't believe in Gonzaga as a 1 seed and you think a 16 seed is going to take them out. Then bet that and make a lot of money, I guess, as well.
I mean, that's true. It'll be... Either way,
plus
either way, you can win a lot of money.
A nice way to win some scratch there.
So. Either way, you can win a lot of money. All right, Saul, it is time to take your shot, presented by Arizona Department of Health Services. COVID-19 vaccines are free for everyone 5 and older. Those 12 and older are also now eligible for a booster. Visit azhealth.gov for a location near you.
Today's Take Your Shot, courtesy of JaVale McGee. And most importantly, I just like this because I love this team and how they react when one of their own does something fantastic on the court. Run the clip. Let's go soon. I guess we don't have it. That's cool. I sent it in the chat, but it's all good. JaVale catches the alley-oop and somehow gets the ball to go in off of a tip and falls to the ground, sprawls all over the place. And your boy Torrey Craig goes over there, fakes punches him. And then the whole bench comes over and helps him up off the ground. It was great to see. So that's today's Take Your Shot.
It wasn't even catch it either. He kind of
he just kind of flipped it in
because he got hit as he did. If you saw it, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
The question was, how does he manage to do these things? Because there have been multiple times throughout the season where you're like, how did JaVale just manage to get his hand on that in the perfect way to just
that's just
gently
luck.
plop that in?
Sometimes it's just luck.
With him, it's the same way that
50-50 with him, though.
Well, it's the same way he can do some of the crazy bad shit he does too, because JaVale is just special in that way on both ends of the luck spectrum. So
one more time, COVID-19 vaccines are free for everyone 5 and older. Those 12 and older are also now eligible for a booster. Visit azhealth.gov for a location near you. All right, Espo. You have something.
You want to play a little game?
Let's play a little game.
Play a little game. Up your sleeve plan for us?
We've got a word association, right? So we're going to play. I'm going to give you an NBA team that the Suns could face in the first round. I want to know what you're thinking. What is your association with this team when you think the Suns playing them? So first
is it
team,
just hold on? I need more. I need
some
more clarification. There. Is it a single word?
No, you can give me your thoughts and not a single word.
Like, is this a basketball thing or is this just like your general, the first thing that pops in your head?
Well, you could say the first thing that pops into your head. I'm thinking, so we're looking at the teams that they could play in the first round.
Okay.
So the first word, Timberwolves.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I don't think I understood the assignment because you said it doesn't have to be one word.
I like it though.
Listen, like,
I'm not worried about it. I don't think.
I'm not worried about it. I mean, Ant, cool. Cat, cool.
Other than that, animals, insects and animals. Yeah.
That's just how it is. That's their nicknames.
No, I know.
The chat's basically saying, chiming in right now. Brian said trash. Moore says first round sweep. Taboo says annoying. Marco says win. Hello says a fun show with the Wolves. Edward T Wolves ... week. I mean, basically
they would sweep them.
We're all in the same. I think we're all in agreement that would be a pretty good and easy W for the Suns.
Yeah. I feel like that's the ideal matchup you want in round one, right? Because you're gonna get the here's the storyline: Devin Booker versus his friend Karl Anthony Towns. It's the Cat versus DA and the guys that Suns fans always bicker about, and maybe it puts some of that to bed. I think there's storylines that make it interesting, but I think it's an easy win for the Suns. That's the team I'd like to see, but currently they're in 7th.
I think there's another team that I'd rather play in the first round, but I'm sure you're going to bring them up.
Pat Bev on that.
Yeah. Also,
Wolves
we don't need
too.
that at all.
That's a little. Let's
just try
unnerving.
to avoid that at all costs at this point.
Let's not get Chris Paul hurt by Pat Bev. Second word, Clippers. What you thinking?
Ugh. Like, they're just so scrappy.
Mm-hmm.
And we would beat them in a series. That I have no doubt about that.
But they would put up more of a fight for sure.
Yeah, it'd be tougher. It'd be tougher.
Dirty is the word that comes to my mind.
Well, now Pat Biv's gone, so they're not as dirty as they once were.
They still got Marcus Morris.
And they don't have Serge Ibaka. They don't have, they lost some pieces.
I will say, though, like, if we're looking ahead to the future, if they get all of their pieces back healthy at the same time, the Clippers are going to be a beast of a team.
Next year is going to be
If ifs was a fifth, we'd all be drunk, Lindsay.
If my aunt had something between her legs, she'd be my uncle.
I'm
Lindsay.
just saying, though, if they can get healthy.
That's the thing about a lot of these teams. If they can get healthy. Mr. Glass in LA, freaking, it's just Zion down in freaking New Orleans. Like, everybody's hurt.
Clay, can he bounce back? There's all sorts of ifs. But, yeah, the Clippers, they are a team that isn't afraid to get physical to try to muck things up. I don't want that in the first round. Everybody's favorite coming up, Lakers.
Yeah, buddy.
The Lakers would be so fun, though.
We would sweep the Lakers.
It would be so fun because even if they were able to get one win over us, just the amount of joy that you could take out of just quieting down so many people and being able to clap back at so many fans who, we saw it the other day. We beat the Lakers. We smacked the Lakers. And we had Lakers fans in all of our mentions.
Oh, you don't have any trophies.
Complaining about that. So beating the Lakers would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And everyone, it's a playoff, so all eyes are on you anyway, but even more because of the Lakers.
This is obviously the sexiest matchup of the four that you could have in the first round. I think it would get the max amount of attention. You'd have the max amount of TNT, ESPN games that you're going to get in that series. You know me, I'm always a little bit of a pessimist. I think there's some of that, just the allure of LeBron and AD, but I still think even if those guys are at their max, they win 2 games at most. At most, even if you get the most out of them. Because the bench is so bad and the Suns are so deep, I don't think the Lakers can keep up with them.
You're giving the Lakers way too much fucking credit. You
I don't
really
think
are.
The Lakers are really going to make it.
The Lakers might not even make the play-in. They're an absolute dumpster fire. In back-to-back nights, they've given up the most points. They've had the most point differential in back-to-back nights in NBA history. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
They're 2.5 games ahead of Portland to remain in the play-in. Yeah, so I think they'll win. They'll stay in, but they have to beat that team we saw tonight, which is the last word, the Pelicans, who's the eighth seed.
But I don't think that's going to happen. That's why listen, I get your fear of the Lakers from it feels like it's just residual from the past.
Yeah,
because
course.
If you look at this team as they are, even with Anthony Davis in the fold, they are trash. They are absolutely trash. LeBron and AD would have to basically drop 78 to 80 a game to keep that team afloat. And they're just not going to be able to do it at the level that they're going to need to with the Suns. They're just not. And they don't have a viable third option. Carmelo Anthony ain't dropping 30 points in a game. Everybody, this is the geriatric squad. They will get absolutely murdered. Listen to me, Laker fans. You will get absolutely murdered if you play the Suns. You'll get swept all the way back to freaking Minnesota because that's the last time you can recall being fucking good. Period.
Look, the only chance they'd have is if Russell Westbrook somehow regained any form, and it's not going to happen. But Pelicans is the last word. We saw them tonight. We know what happened, but what are your thoughts overall if they get healthy? Because they didn't have Ingram tonight. He'd likely be there in a playoff
That's
series.
the toughest series to me. If they have CJ McCollum and Brandon Ingram, things get a little dicey because they have length to match up with you, and they've
notoriously out-rebounded us.
They can cause problems,
which has been a big deal.
They can absolutely cause problems, and it would be an issue. The Suns would still win the series, but that's a very tough first-round series.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think, with their coaching staff being so familiar with the Suns as well, that becomes a difficult series. And you don't want to have to put a lot of mileage on this team in round one. You want the easiest route possible to get into round two. Save some miles.
Let the Pels play the Grizzlies in round one. That's what I want to see.
That would actually be a really good series.
It would be a really good series, and that's a series that I could easily see the Pels winning.
But Lakers Pelicans in that play-in game, one game determines which one's out. That's going to be some fun basketball to watch. And people will crap on that play-in situation, but as the 1 seed, it looks like the Suns will wrap that up. As fans, we're going to be sitting there watching this with bated breath because we have no freaking clue who the Suns are going to play until that's all settled. And that's going to be an interesting thing to watch. So we'll do this again with other teams, other scenarios.
That's it? That's all the teams?
That's the word association for tonight. I wanted to look at the tail end of the standings and who they may face in the first round. But, looking at it, Grizzlies won again tonight. They may actually stay ahead of the Warriors down this stretch. We'll keep an eye on that too, that battle for the 2 seed.
Well, since you brought it up, let's go ahead and take a look at the standings as they sit right now.
Suns at the top.
And that's all that matters.
We can read that.
No, I got it right here. So the Suns are sitting at the 1 spot in the West there, and then it's the Grizzlies 7.5 games back at 48-22. Golden State 47-22, 8 games back. And then you've got Utah and Dallas tied for the 4th and 5th right now, 12.5 behind the Suns, and Denver sitting at 6th, 14 games behind the Suns. So that 4-5 matchup is likely going to be Utah-Dallas unless Denver can make up some ground in the last few, what we got 3 weeks left in the season. And Denver might be able to because Jamal Murray has headed to their G League team to start working out. He may be back soon for that Denver team. So maybe they'll be able to move into that 5th spot. But there's jockeying for position, but it doesn't look like the Suns are going to have to worry about falling out of that number 1 spot right now.
That's interesting. Jamal Murray kind of coming back to action. How do you guys think that just kind of affects things?
It's been a year.
Right.
It's been a year since he's played, and it's just hard for me to see him coming back at the level that he was playing at before he got injured. For this playoff run, I think it's going to take some time for him to kind of get his bearings back underneath. And listen, Joker has absolutely put his fingerprints all over that team. That team runs through Joker 1,000% now. Then if you bring back Murray, they got to adjust or readjust, I should say, to everything going kind of both through Joker and through Murray. It's gonna be a little helter-skelter for a little bit. So it's great to have him back if you're Denver, but you're also like, we're playing pretty good. I think they've won like 10 out of their last 11 or something like that. And Bones Highland's playing at a very high level right now. Like, he had a terrific game.
A good dude.
He jumps on their post game. Our peeps at DMVR. He'll just randomly show and tweet at them and say, "Hey, you guys still on?" And then jump on their show. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's pretty cool. He's a pretty cool cat.
Look, they're going to go through the same thing that the Warriors have gone through with Clay.
Yeah,
there is an adjustment period bringing a guy back, and Clay is just primarily a shooter, right? Jamal's the guy that instigates their offense in a lot of cases as a point guard. It's going to take a lot for him to get back in the fold, and they're testing him out in the G League with their practices just to see if he's ready for this. So he becomes a problem next year. I'm not sure what it does this year. There's just you gotta go from nothing to full speed, going right basically into the playoffs. I don't know how he's going to be able to perform.
Again, this is the thing that everybody kind of keeps forgetting, is that with all these injuries that have happened, people think, oh, well, when they come back, they're going to be like right back to where they left off. What you're forgetting about is the fact that the Suns have maintained health for the most part. Some wood.
Not even for the most part.
And they've increased and gotten better through that period of time. So when Jamal Murray left, let's just use NBA 2K examples for right now, right? When Jamal Murray, that was maybe a 90 or a 95 on NBA 2K left, Mikal Bridges was probably like a 70. When he comes back, Mikal Bridges is now like an 80, 85, maybe close to a 90 if you put everything together. Cam Johnson, same thing, increased. DA, same thing, increased. Like, so you're not coming back to the normal West that you came back to. You're coming back to a better Suns team than you had left. So it's more of a problem when you have to face the Phoenix Suns than it was before. So yeah, you might have won by 20 before, or you might have won on a couple buzzer beaters last year, but I guarantee you that shit ain't going to happen again.
They're a better defensive team this year too.
Oh,
I mean, mile. So now you got to be Jamal Murray trying to overcome an injury, playing a better defensive Suns team as well. Mm-hmm. It doesn't scare me that much.
All right. Well, we have Gerald back with us again. He was able to talk with some of the players and get some insight from them after this win over the Pelicans. Gerald, who'd you get to talk to today?
Yes, we talked to Devin Booker, and then Mikal Bridges and JaVale McGee joined us after that together. Booker had a couple of things to say. Obviously, he was asked about the hit to the nose. He said he was okay and that he didn't think it was a dirty play by McCollum, just an unfortunate play because he got hit in the mouth, and nobody likes to be hit in the mouth, which he said. So I think he talked a little bit about Willie Green's influence, and he called it inspiring watching his friend Karl Anthony Towns and Kyrie Irving drop 60 points on back-to-back nights. He said, this has been an incredible week of hoops. And then he was asked, you're capable of putting up points like this, and kind of hinting at like, how come we don't see that as much from you anymore? And he said, look, we're in the business of getting wins now. Like, I can score like that, but I don't need to. Like, we have guys that can do it, and that's what makes us dangerous, sharing the ball the way that we do in this system, which is something we were kind of talking about in the middle of the game.
Right. I want to know your thoughts on this, guys. Like, do you think that the system that the Phoenix Suns play within allows for a guy to go off in that way? Or do you also think that Monty would leave a guy in there long enough or continue to feed him to reach a level of 50 or more points?
Situations dictate that. If you're playing the Pelicans, there's no need to push it to 50 unless you're just insanely on fire. If you're playing against a team, I don't know, let's say you're playing the Bucks and you're in the finals and Book is cooking. Like, yeah, you keep going to him because he's cooking. So, yeah, you could drop 50. I think it's easier to drop 50 in a scenario like that than it is in a game where you're kind of blowing a team out. You're worried about rest and making sure people don't get injured. So I think Book could drop 50 just about every single night if he really, really wanted to. But a lot of these situations, he just doesn't need to.
Monty ain't going to Earl Watson it, all right? He's not going to manufacture a big game for Devin Booker like we saw in that Celtics 70-point game. Like, that's not going to happen, right? But you know what? It wouldn't shock me if Devin
70.
I was going to say, Saul felt offended there. I can feel it over here.
Manufacture all you want. It's still 70.
He was fouling guys late in that game just to get him to 70.
Still
all right?
70.
But that only got him like that last,
like 10 points if you go
10,
back and look at that.
That's still
that's the difference between 60 and 70. That's a big deal, all right?
Have you ever dropped 70 points in a game?
Saul, I haven't dropped more than 10 points in a game ever in my life, all right? I did take 6 charges in a game once, though, so I do have that. But look,
same.
It is. It really is. It hurts a hell of a lot more to take 6 charges than drop 50. I'll tell you that much. But look,
I don't disagree.
Why even ask me that? You knew that's what you knew the answer.
I'm saying, like, you have no idea how hard it is to drop 70 points.
I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying that Earl Watson helped him get those
manufactured
finals. You know what I meant. Everybody knows that the end of that game.
Espo hates Devin Booker. You heard it here first.
Oh no, I hate all of you.
I didn't. I was. How did Gerald and I get lumped into this?
All of you.
I know, right? Lindsey was so rude just
look, I'm going to say this. Hey, actually, have you ever dropped 50? If you're going to throw shade at me.
I've dropped 33.
Okay. That's not 50. That's not 70.
It was fucking hard. That's what I'm saying. 70's fucking hard, you asshole. Trying to throw that shit at me.
I'm not saying it's not hard.
I did not mean to get us off the rails.
I was like, God damn, I busted my ass for that 33 points. I couldn't even imagine 70.
If your coach fouled every point, though,
well, my coach sucked. Should have got me the ball more. I would have dropped 40.
Look, what I was trying to get to is I think Devin Booker has a very big game tomorrow night. I think he looks at this, he sees Cat, he sees Kyrie, they're playing the lowly Rockets. I think we're in for a show tomorrow night is what I was trying to get to. And before Saul reminded me that I sucked at basketball when I played it. Not that I needed reminding. I was well aware. That's why I'm sitting here. All right?
Oh, my God.
Touche.
Look, I think we could have been in store for maybe 40 tonight if the Pelicans had been able to close the gap a little bit. But when the starters blew it open, or the bench blew it open, second night of a back-to-back tomorrow, there's no need.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the problem. It's as much about the system as it is about how good the Suns are. A lot of times when Book is cooking, there's a good chance it means the Suns are up big. Mm-hmm. So not going to play that fourth as much.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 45 and 3/4 tomorrow night.
Okay. Calling his shot.
I'll call it.
I'm here
45
and it
in
won't be
3/4.
Yeah, and it won't be manufactured. All right, that'll be it'll be purely all Devin Booker.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Gerald, please continue. What else did they say?
Yeah, the best quote of the night was probably when Book was asked, okay, this was a team that beat you just a couple weeks ago and beat you good. Like we've all talked about how much the Suns love to bounce back from losses. What about losses to specific teams? And his words were, we owe them. Like we talk about it amongst ourselves, like we owe them one when they do that to us, especially with as good as they beat us at home. So that's kind of just what we saw again tonight. They hate losing and they love bouncing back from losses, even if it was a couple weeks ago. You remember that tweet that Book sent out? It was like a string of all W's. It was a picture of their schedule, string of W's, and that one loss to the Hawks, and he had like the angry face over it. Like they ruminate on this type of shit and they remember it.
That's what the greats do.
Yeah.
Yep.
It is.
And then you said you spoke with JaVale and Mikhail?
Yeah. JaVale, because we had mentioned the conversation that Monty had with JaVale earlier and just kind of singing his praises and letting him know how much he appreciated him. And McGee said that type of thing means a lot to him as a guy who's been in the league for so long. When you have your coach that is just pumping you up and letting you know how much you mean to this team. He said this twice in the last couple of games that he feels like he's the most efficient player in the NBA. I don't know about that, but he is extremely productive in the minutes that he gets on the court. We've talked about how he's a per 36 minutes god, and he is extremely efficient when he's out there. So it's really cool that literally every single piece of this roster feels that connection to Monty, connection to each other, and feels like they're part of something great. Like this is a storybook team, and obviously there's still the next step to go, that one thing that they need to get over the hump, but like they just have every check box marked off.
The one thing that I think even I have to tell myself over and over again, it's like, you know what? I know we're going to get to the playoffs, and that's important, right? But we do really have to appreciate this team for what they are right now. Like there's a certain part of living in the moment that I think sometimes we just, we're kind of fixated on how last year ended, and we want to get right back to prove it again, right? And this team is just so, like, watching this team perform on the court is great. Watching how they all get along is even better. Mm-hmm. And it gives you Ted Lasso vibes. Like, let's be honest, you know what I mean? Like, it really does, and it kind of warms your heart when when they were picking up JaVale off the ground after that kind of failed but good alley-oop. That was like, yes, that's my fucking team. Like, I love that, and so we should just really appreciate that for what it is right now, because it's going to get dicey. It's going to get dicey in the playoffs. There's going to be some ups and downs, but hey, enjoying it right now. That's
and you can just tell that this team genuinely enjoys being around each other. They enjoy being teammates and spending time. Like, what other team do you see? I mean, maybe there are. I'll be honest, I don't follow any other team in the NBA as closely as I do the Suns. But like the pregame videos in the tunnel, like even being out during warmups and just like when Mikhail and DeAndre are singing at each other, if you go back and you catch it at the very beginning, it's like subtle, like goofy glances at each other where they're like, this is your song. This is your song. And then they go off because they're just the same type of things you do with your best friends, like at the bar or when you're just having a good time, you know? Like, they're all best friends, and it's the most precious thing ever.
Really
I give a lot of credit to JaVale for that, too, because I feel like his personality has allowed them to open up a little bit this year, where Devin Booker and CP3 have a very specific way that they go about things. They approach things as leaders. JaVale coming in as a veteran and still working hard, but bringing that to this team, I think has opened up a whole different level of camaraderie with this group, and I really, really like that. And I give JaVale a lot of credit for bringing that to this team, because you see that pregame dancing, that's him leading that there. So.
Well, it's him leading that there because Mikal and DA don't know how to. Now you have two strong presences in CP3 and Booker. So, and they came into that, and so they don't want to trump the big dogs, right? But then JaVale, who's got just as much experience as those two, comes in. He's probably a little bit more comfortable in being himself, kind of shows the way. Then Mikal and DA just kind of chip in, and then it just gets crazy. Yeah. But the great thing about CP3 and Booker, and I truly believe CP3, we always talk about his influence on the team, but I also think the team is influencing him because he's growing and understanding. You know, I think he used to be an asshole to teammates, so much so that he turned them off, turned them away. And I think right now,
maybe he just had really bad teammates. I don't know.
James Harden's not the greatest.
Russell, he had James Harden.
We're not taking the Sun Devil slander right now.
Yeah, well,
I meant
James Harden.
Okay, I take it back. Not really bad teammates. Maybe his teammates just weren't nearly as fun as these guys.
Well, maybe his teammates weren't ready for it. Like, let's be honest. But on top of that, like, I do think CP3, just like Monty, has grown. You know, Monty has admittedly said he screwed up some things in New Orleans, even with Chris Paul. And so he wanted to change that dynamic, and they both have. And so I think CP3 appreciates what each teammate brings to the table, learns from them as much as they learn from him, and that's what makes this all beautiful. CP3 is kind of like the Roy Kent of the group. Like, let's be real.
He
right?
is.
He's the Roy Kent of the group, where everybody respects him. He's kind of a hard ass, but every now and then he shows you that he cares about you very, very much, and that makes you want to, run through a wall for him because he's your point guard.
He's here, he's there, he's everywhere. He's fucking CP3.
We're gonna need the full, because I know Espo at the very start of the season wrote about a Monty Williams, Ted Lasso comparison. We might need to flesh out the full roster.
I think we need to.
There's a lot of similarities
I think we need to
here.
For sure.
Look, MCG Blue in the chat brings up a very good point about JaVale as well. He's a champion too. So and he's one of I think he's the only guy on the roster that's a champion, I believe. So that carries, well, technically you could count Torrey Craig as getting a ring because he got one for the Bucks. Yeah. But JaVale McGee, it carries that as well. I mean, there's a lot of respect for what he's been able to accomplish as well. So it shows there's different paths to being able to succeed, and I like that about it. By the way, I have a question for the group, for each and every one of you, all right? Have any of you ever thrown down an alley-oop from a 3-time NBA All-Star?
Oh, Jesus
and possibly
Christ.
the best player ever on his franchise.
Do you have the clip?
I don't have the clip, but I'm just letting you know I have. So that's just it.
I have the clip.
You have the clip.
I have the clip. I will get the clip.
Do you know the clip we're talking about?
I think I do.
Yeah, I don't know
if I've actually ever seen it or if I've just heard it so many times
Spectacular.
that I have this in my head already.
Yes. So
I'm not totally positive.
I may not have dropped 50, but I've dunked an alley-oop from Devin Booker. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
what is this Edward Todd saying? Oh God, Saul hid in the water. It's legit water.
To the question, fitted hat for the people in the chat asking about my son's lid tonight. Apparently, it's a favorite of the group out there. So,
anything else, Gerald, that stood out from tonight?
Yeah, just one last thing, and it's related to what Espo was talking about as far as JaVale's championship experience. He said he's played on championship teams, obviously, and those last 15 to 16 games of the season, it can be easy to kind of relax if you're in the Suns' position where, it's not officially locked up, but they're going to get the 1 seed. Mm-hmm. Like, they're 7.5 games ahead of the next closest player. They'd have to lose basically all their games, and the other teams win all of theirs to make up that ground. But he said, like, without Chris Paul, we're going to take advantage of this time because I've been on championship teams where they use those last 15 to 16 games to work on different things, to ramp up towards the playoffs. Like, we're not even playing our best basketball yet. We're going to get Chris Paul back here soon, and like, we're going to take it to another level. And so for a champion to say that, 3-time champion, to look at this roster and see those similarities and be like, yeah, we're going to do the same thing, I think that speaks volumes about the character and the mentality of this group.
All right, gentlemen, before we go to our final topic of the night, anything else that you'd like to bring up or have a conversation around?
Look, DeAndre Ayton. Just DeAndre Ayton and the rebounding. There were some comments about it. Mm-hmm. Look, 5 isn't great. He also didn't play the fourth quarter tonight. I believe in his over the last week and a half, he's averaged like 13 rebounds. Like, it ebbs and flows sometimes. When they didn't need it tonight, it needs to be better. It needs to be more consistent. I understand, but they didn't need it tonight, and he didn't play a whole quarter. So
if people are worried about the DeAndre Ayton rebounding thing, I understand it. But I will just say that if you look at the defensive schemes the Suns have used with Chris Paul out, when Chris Paul is in there, they don't switch as much. They like try to, I don't want to say hide him, but they do things differently to where they're not switching as much. With him out, they've switched a little bit more, and that pulls DA away from the basket a little bit more. So I do want to say, like, once Chris Paul comes back, I don't think the rebounding problem will be as bad. It might be against certain matchups, but that's why Monty's experimented with the dual big lineups we've seen lately. So I'm not going to panic about it just yet. It is an area to keep an eye on, but I wouldn't be overly concerned.
I really thought you were about to say, if people are concerned about DA's rebounding, check out my article tomorrow morning. I was like, what?
Gerald is very good at plugging like that, though, so I can see why
I do want to plug. We do have that interview.
It's like, well, now that you bring it up.
We do have that interview with Danish writer Morten Stig Jensen. For those of you who are curious about Gabriel Lundberg, who is the Suns' new two-way signing. He won't be here for a few weeks, but not your typical two-way signing. It would be good to get familiar with his game, and we have that interview on our YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, check it out. Really good. Fantastic editing on it, too.
Yes, that was him.
All right, before we get to our final topic, we got to tell you about another partner of ours, Athletic Greens. Honestly, they're a no-brainer. They do so many different things for your health. They support better sleep quality and recovery. They've got over 7,000 five-star reviews. Like, all the nutrition and health and wealth that you could use in your body, Athletic Greens has that. And Espo, you can tell us more about it because you love Athletic Greens.
I actually ran out of Athletic Greens for about a week, and I had to go to Max and go, please beg them to send me some more because I need my green juice in the morning. All right. I can honestly say when I didn't take it, I felt more lethargic, which is saying a lot because look at me, I'm always lethargic, but I felt more lethargic and I got back on it today and had the energy I needed because I got a sick 5-year-old at home, not a lot of sleep going on right now, and that energy was spectacular. Athletic Greens, fantastic for that. Part of my journey in trying to get healthier this year, and it's helped. I missed it a lot when it was gone.
So if you need some energy or if you just feel like you're not getting enough nutrients, be sure to check out Athletic Greens. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. So all you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/suns, make a purchase, and you're going to get all of those great freebies added on. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/suns to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. All right, Espo, there was something that you were going to tell us about in pregame, and I cut you off and told you had to wait until postgame. I apologize, but now is your time to shine.
Let's get political.
Oh, boy.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I just wanted to see
Just
something.
love that grenade.
It's not actually political. It does involve the Senate. The Senate today passed a bill that says that they are going to get rid of daylight savings time If it passes the House, it's going.
Switch to it fully.
Excuse me, yes.
Technically same.
Switch to it. Yes.
Wait, what does that mean? I'm confused now.
So come November 2023, the clocks wouldn't change. They just stay.
Anybody's.
Never again.
2023?
Yes. Television and airlines asked for it not to happen this year. I don't know why.
I mean, I guess that they have.
Well,
they probably have schedules so far out already.
Fucking schedule.
No, they probably programmed it. So then they would have to go back and program all those changes in the time.
How tough is that? It's got to be, don't change the time.
What is that with Mr. Minimizer right here? How tough is that? It's so easy. 70 points. That's easy. What the fuck is wrong with you tonight?
It can't be that
really
tough, all right?
That's all.
Just flip the button, guys. That's it. Let's just switch.
It's a time. It's not
Say
like
it.
that.
Say the F word. Say it.
Come on. So if it passes the House, November 2023, clocks won't change. But there's a caveat. It sounds like Arizona is going to get to vote. I don't know if it's the people or somebody here will get to decide if we stay Mountain or if we go to Pacific time. And I want to know from you guys, would you prefer to be in Mountain time or would you prefer to be in
Mountain.
Pacific time?
100% Mountain.
Oh, really? Why?
Because then we're not 3 hours behind Eastern time. Like,
I kind of like my early games.
I honestly, to be completely transparent, I don't know which one is which.
Okay.
If you don't adjust the time to just be with Arizona, like I don't understand.
So right now,
I always have to ask or Google what time we're on.
So right now we are in Pacific time. We're the same as California. So we are 1 hour behind our counterparts in Colorado who are in Mountain time, and then obviously it trickles across the coast.
3 hours off of East Coast time. We're 3 hours behind.
Right. So if we are in Pacific time,
we would be 3 hours away from the East Coast.
And you should want to be on Pacific time.
Thank you.
All right, I changed my mind. Pacific time, all the way.
Your bedtimes would be so much earlier if it was
fewer 8 o'clock games if we're on Pacific.
Okay, then we want Pacific time.
We'd only have 8 o'clock games if we were playing a TNT game. Outside of now, when we're early in the season and they go to California, you get those weird 8:30 tip times. So you'd want us to be on Pacific time.
Yeah, I want Pacific.
Okay.
I used to love as a kid, and I'll say this, or when I wasn't working in sports, the being in Mountain time and having those 8:30 games, because I could get out of work, I could get the kid to bed, I could sit there and I could watch a game.
When you were a kid, that's what you liked? Was putting the kid to bed?
No. When I was a kid, I loved it because I could get homework done and all that crap. I could go watch it late, or when I was in high school and I wanted to stay up late, I'd have a game on, right? I liked that. But working in it, I can definitely understand why Pacific would be better. Gerald, what's your stance here?
I'm confused now because he brought up a really good point. I don't like being like 3 hours behind Eastern time, but I do like the earlier start times. It's tricky. I might have to switch my answer
to the dark
Pacific
side, Gerald.
Because
there we go.
I just like this. I like saying Mountain time better than I like saying Pacific time. It just rolls off the tongue easier.
Does it?
I think so.
You know what I
know
like?
That's a stupid reason to make a decision, but I just like the way it sounds better.
You know what would be nice is never, ever, ever again having to ask, are we 2 hours or 3 hours away from the East Coast? Yeah. It will always be one thing. I never made any. Everybody complains about changing their clock, but how about living in a place like us where you don't know what the time is anywhere else because you always stay the same and nobody else in the world does? It's very weird.
That's the thing, is it's just like, you have to tell me what time it is on your end so that I can kind of calculate over here, because I cannot be held responsible to know what time it is in your state.
Man,
that's just not fair.
If our bosses like lived on the East Coast, I would definitely want Pacific, because I want a little window for us to communicate. No, that's it.
You kidding? You did,
right?
You think Brandon would care what the time difference was?
That's true. No, he moves up my phone 24/7. It feels like so. I get random DMs at 2:30 in the morning, like, "Hey, bro."
Tashi said, "Does anyone know why Arizona doesn't have daylight savings time?"
We didn't know.
Well, because there were no farmers.
Oh.
Because it's desert.
Because we're farming sand.
We have farmland out here.
What?
There are farmers in Arizona, you guys.
I was totally kidding. I was totally kidding.
Oh.
I was totally kidding. I just want to see Espo's reaction when he flipped out.
There's no farmers.
That's twice that they've missed the joke, and I've gotten it. And I'm the gullible one.
Gerald. I appreciate it.
Well,
It wasn't a good joke.
the turntables, Gerald.
Did you know that the only city of gastronomy was Tucson because of their farming? Did you know that?
The only city that what?
The only world recognized city of gastronomy in the United States is Tucson because of their farming. Yeah, UNESCO. Just a little nugget of knowledge for you
I
guys.
don't even know what
That's so
gastronomy
random.
is. So.
It's food, guy.
Why would I know that gastronomy is
I'm
food?
not your buddy, guy.
Did you know what
No.
gastronomy
No.
was?
No, I
Did
Did you guys didn't know what
I do
gastronomy
like
was?
gastronomy.
Okay.
No.
I knew Gerald would know what gastronomy
Of course,
was.
Gerald does.
She's like, of course that fucking nerd knew what
I like that translation. I like that.
Gerald works with words. It's his job to literally know different words. I bet you if you gave Gerald a word, he could list off 4 synonyms for that word like that.
Oh, let's fucking do it.
Tomorrow's game.
That's a great
I
post game
bet
show.
you
segment.
$20 he
Let's
could
do it. Tomorrow's
Edward
game. Let's go.
Gastronomy. In the chat. Gastronomy, he says in the chat.
Oh my god.
This has been a unique episode
It
today.
has been a little weird. Also, I chose poorly today in my
It's warm.
outfit.
No,
First
it's
of all,
warm in
it's
here.
warm.
I'm sweating.
Either that or we all
like I'm in
got
Debo's
fevers, one or the other.
pigeon coop right now.
It was
I feel like I'm wearing
87 today.
a fucking Snuggie. It looks like I'm wearing a Snuggie on this stream. It's fucking hot.
It was 87 today.
Oh my god.
87.
Oh my god. Well,
Wrap it up.
thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate you. If you joined us in the chat, thank you. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. If you are listening to this on whatever platform you listen to it, podcast-wise, be sure to subscribe, rate, and review. And you can follow me on Twitter at Lindsey Smith AZ. You can follow Saul at Saul_Bookman. You can follow Gerald at Gerald Bourguet. And of course, you can follow Espo at
See
Espo.
what Josh said?
No.
He says Saul picked the couch camo.
You do
I did
actually
put it
know
in the chat.
that.
And then I looked down, I was like, ah, fuck. It's
Brian,
so
in the,
true.
Brian in the chat says Saul looking like he's about to cook the best BBQ of 2020.
Yeah,
That's
there you
baby.
go.
That's right.
All right.
Nobody commented on the Bubba Gump shrimp hat. That's the best part of this outfit
Can people
tonight.
see it?
I don't know. That's the
think you
best
can
part of
really
that
see
outfit
it.
tonight.
Yeah, you can't really see it with the way that it's tilted in this shot.
Yeah, it's
so.
all right.
It's
okay.
spectacular.
That's
Now you know
to,
what it is.
I wanted to give you your flowers
I
for it. I
appreciate that
enjoyed
very
it today.
much.
You're welcome.
All right, Espo, take us home.
Ahoy, hoy.